All right, we are on the draw here. Match 1 of this league with Rug Delver. This hand is a mulligan. No lands. This hand has 2 lands. Therefore, we shall keep. Mishra's Bauble looks pretty nice. Let the opponent have their turn. Looking like a turn 1 Thought Scour, turn 2 Goyf or Leak. The opponent looks to be... Oh, it's Bogles. Oh, dear lord. It's Bogles. Okay. That's fine. I feel like we've already lost, but that's fine. Our life total is relevant, so I think we're going to start on an island here, essentially. Use this. See what we're going to draw. It's a Delver of Secrets. Does that actually help us? It might. We could play that on turn 3. That doesn't seem good enough. Delver on 3 does not seem sufficient. I think we're going to fetch here before we draw it. Delver on 2 isn't bad, but we're playing Goyf on 2, which means we're stuck playing that Delver on turn 3, and I think that's just going to be too slow. If we find something like a Disrupting Shoal here, and can shoal profitably, that'd be great. Bolt is probably as bad or worse than the Delver. It's possible the opponent's hand is really bad, but they kept on 7. So I'm going to assume it isn't. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the deck we're playing against, it's centered around playing hexproof creatures for 1 mana, and then enchanting them such that they get extraordinarily big. That's the gist of it. You can't bolt or push a slippery Bogle, which means it's immune to most removal. Then you just gotta make it big enough. Second threat for our opponent, a Glade Cover Scout. We're gonna scour here, we might hit Shoal. We didn't hit Shoal. That's alright. That's alright. Think we're just gonna get a basic forest here. Play the Tarmogoyf. They didn't have an extremely busted start, so there's that. Having 5-6 Goyfs here is very helpful. Now, this Bogle has flying, which means there's no way we're blocking it. Hopefully, the opponent just doesn't have much. Daybreak Coronet is much. It gets +3/+3 Vigilance, First Strike, Lifelink. They also threw an Ethereal Armor, which is another +1/+1 for each enchantment they control. This is an 8/7 with Lifelink. That's a 2-turn clock. They gain 8 life, and it has Vigilance, so they get to keep blocking. They've already seen all of our colors. Gonna play a land here. So, it's possible there's an argument that on turn 2, instead of playing Tarmogoyf, you hold up Mana Leak, hope to hit something like a Daybreak Coronet. I don't know how good that is, not playing the Tarmogoyf. Bogles is a very, very big race, the matchup. That has First Strike. So you know what? If we had Simic Charm, we could have swung. They might block. We make this an 8/9, and then maybe we deal with their Bogle. That's possible. Would have been a very cool out. As is, not a thing for us. That's okay. We're going to take another 8. They're going to go to 30. Yep, we're dead. Alright. Let's see what we can do to remedy this situation. I'm thinking Bogles. We want EE for sure. Set it on 1. Hope they don't have an enchantment that saves their hexproof creature. They run some of the Umbras, Hyena Umbra. I don't believe they run Spider Umbra. It might just be the Hyena Umbra. But basically that says when your enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead this card is destroyed. So that's a way they can get around board wipe effect. I don't think it actually gets around sacrifice effects, but we're in Temur, so we don't have those. Kozilek's Return seems like a strictly worse Pyroclasm in this matchup, but I don't think we have much better. I kind of want to play Young Pyromancer just because it's another clock. We can counter their green spells, but they have very few green enchantments. Most of the enchantments are just white. The creatures are all green. Can we pull up... It's probably going to be called Hexproof on MTG Goldfish, maybe Bogles. It's called Bogles. Fantastic. Let's see how much of their deck is green. Okay, they have some green enchantments. Rancor. That's something I wouldn't mind countering. They do run some amount of Spider Umbra. Any others? Keen Sense. Basically a green Curiosity. Is it only combat damage? Nope. It is a green Curiosity. Unflinching Courage, a one of in some lists. That's a 3-mana green enchantment. That's something to Flash Freeze. Flash Freeze doesn't seem very good here. Ceremonious Rejection, bad. We're gonna hope we can Blood Moon them. That seems fair. Destructive Revelry, definitely something we want in the matchup. I think we want the Mountain because I want to be fast. We don't need these. Okay, I want to keep as many 1 CMC blue spells as I can. We're going to try cutting the 2 CMC ones if things have to get cut. I kind of want the Mandrills, especially since Shoal basically forces us to keep all the Scours, so I want my Mandrills in. 23 minus 6. 17 is a very high number. I can live with cutting a Snag. I want to cut a Forked Bolt. We have to cut 2 more cards. It might have to be a Mandrills. Maybe we shouldn't have all 3 moons. Maybe we shouldn't have Peasy. I really don't know. Let's cut another Bolt. That's sufficient. I don't know how good it is. I don't play against Bogles very often. Not a big portion of the meta. I would love to be on the play. That hands them all. No lands, take them all. Okay. Turn 2 Mana Leak. Honestly, I don't think this hand is doing anything that's going to beat what they're doing, so I think we just have to go to 5. This is something I want to work on, mulliganing for specific matchups. Against an aggro deck, this seems fine. Bolt their first thing, leak their second thing. We've drawn a couple cards. We already made our land drops. That's probably okay. Maybe the Shoal is going to save us some tempo at some point. Against a mid-range deck, this is probably a mull. Against Bogles, we hope to Mana Leak an enchantment. They're going to resolve their Hexproof creature. And then Bolt and Shoal are both going to be bad. We have to hope to draw a threat too. Our clock is extremely slow because we don't have anything going on. I think we mull that. This is better. This is not good. It's better. Stubborn Denial is probably going to go on the bottom, and I'm just going to play this Delver of Secrets. We still don't have a very good chance to win, but I think playing the Delver is better than playing the Visions. I guess we could have topped the Denial and gone full race mode. Denial's not necessarily good in this matchup. Sometimes it does work. Sometimes it just does nothing, which is very unfortunate. Well, we got a Denial anyways, so there's that. That makes me... I definitely want to attack for 3. I'm not sure if I want to crack a fetch here. I probably just want to crack a fetch here. There are no 1-mana green spells we're looking to cast here. We have a non-zero amount of 1-mana red spells, so I believe we're going to tap the Breeding Pool for this Visions. Land going to go to the bottom. Disrupting Shoal would have been good before now. At this point, I'd rather have more action. On turn 1, Shoal's great. This matchup is considerably better when you're Shoal heavy. Being Shoal light makes it a lot worse. Here's a Griff Spoon. The opponent's probably not going to play into the Denial that they know about. Well, they are. so that's fine. Rancor is something I'd love to counter. This probably suggests that the opponent has other spells that they're more eager to resolve. We drew a Misty. Alright, that's fine. So, return Griff's Boon to your from your graveyard attached to something. They're very far from activating that ability. What are the chances they have 0 enchantments in hand? Probably about 0. I mean, the race is bad, but oh dear. We didn't even play a land. I was so focused on how bad this is for us. Ethereal Armor also gives it first strike, makes blocking pretty awful. Second Ethereal Armor, so is that 8/7? 8/7 first strike, flying. EE on 1. Come on. Draw into EE on 1, yes. Yes, just play right into it. That's 14, we're dead. There you go. That's Bogles. Turn 3, we just lost. On the draw. The deck can be pretty explosive. It's also very good at winning races against creature decks. Because its creatures are almost entirely hexproof, it runs Core Spirit Dancer, which allows you to draw cards when you cast enchantment spells. Or is it just auras? It's just auras. That's the only creature that they play that doesn't have hexproof, unless you count something like Dryad Arbor, which is basically just there to play around Liliana. So you try to make them sack a creature, they only have one creature out, they crack a fetch, get Dryad Arbor, suddenly they have a second creature, they sack the Arbor instead. They keep their Bogle with 4 enchantments on it. It's pretty good in the deck. It's very hard to interact with hexproof creatures that rapidly become 8/7s, 14/13s. That's just about the gist of it. The deck really requires you to either have a shoal in hand to hit their only creature. You see the opponent has exactly 1 card left in hand on their 3rd turn being on the draw. They often only have 1 or 2 creatures in hand, so if you can snipe one of them with a shoal, or I mean, it's possible that you're on the play and they don't have it for turn 1, but they probably mulliganed into a hand like that. Bogles is not going to keep a 7 that doesn't have lands, creature, enchantments. That's just what they need to operate. Maybe they keep something greedy, but I'm not sure. But anyways, you need your interaction right away, and you need very specific interaction to beat a deck that focuses on basically 7/7 hexproof creatures that they get out around turn 2 or 3, which is really quite good when you think about it. 7/7 hexproof creatures on turn 2 or 3. It's very good against fair decks and creature decks, that's for sure. Anyways, best way to fight Bogles, probably to run 3 or 4 shoal, 1 or 2 EE in the board. Cards like Pyroclasm are only good for the first couple of turns. As you can see, this thing isn't dying to a Pyroclasm anytime soon. One nice thing about Kozilek's Return is you can try to get them with an enchantment on the stack, which is something. While this was still a 2/1 from the Griff's Boon, going into their... Did they cast the first Ethereal Armor? No, all of these Ethereal Armors were cast this turn. So going into their 3rd turn when they cast this, it's possible... The Bogle was still a 2/1. They cast this Ethereal Armor. In response, we Kozilek's Return, deal with their dude. They lose the Ethereal Armor. Now they probably have a bunch of enchantments in hand. That's basically how you have to get them. Or, and this is very relevant, the deck can lose to itself. It plays roughly 12 creatures, basically. That's not a lot. The deck can very, very well... I'm not sure how often this happens, but it can just not have its creature, and then you mulligan too low, and then say we counter the 1 creature and they lose. Or maybe they have a bunch of 1/1s and they don't have any enchantments. Or they get mana screwed like everybody else. So the deck does just lose to variance on its own. That's one way you can beat it. That's definitely not the way to hope to beat it. but according to MTG Goldfish, it's 0.8% of the meta, so I am fine with having an awful Bogles matchup. Anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed that video. That wasn't even real Magic. That was just something else. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.